Just gonna record. All right. Hello, hello. Okay, so happy Tuesday. We are officially starting our live training, which is called Resetting and Revving Your Metabolism. I am so excited, and I'm so excited to host this for one, but I'm also so excited that you are here with me. And hold on one sec. Okay, I'm going to tag everyone. Everyone. I have a few people who are hopping on. And then let me see if I can. There we go. Tag some people here that mentioned. Okay. All right, so I'm taking some people that we're trying to get into it. So as you're hopping on. Okay. All right, so just taking some people that were hopping on for this. I know sometimes when I do these lives that the algorithm doesn't always immediately show up in your feed. So this is why I'm taking some of you so that you can join. And I also did a tag at everyone as well. So as you're hopping on, let me know who's here. Let me know where you're watching from. You can go ahead and drop a hi into the thing. Hold on, let me see. Okay, I got two people going. All right, awesome. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Oops. And, as you're hopping on, let me know where you're watching from, who's here with me. You can go ahead and say hi down in the comments, just so that I know who's here with me. And, oh, where's the box? Oh, there we go. I see Heidi's here. You're welcome, Heidi. No problem. Anything that helps you guys, just come to the live training, absolutely. And yeah, as you're hopping on, let me know who's watching. Say hi down below. Let us know where you're watching from. And we'll just take a moment or two, and then we're going to get started. While we're waiting, let me know what your favorite way to move your body is, or what your favorite thing to do is. Oh, emergency alert. Okay, sorry, there's an emergency alert on my phone. We're just going to get rid of that. Okay. All right, so we're going to officially get started. All right, so as you're hopping on, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the comment box. Either if you're on a laptop, it's on the side, or if you're watching live from your phone, you can do that. It's at the bottom when you should be able, there's a comment box there where you can be able to comment as well. So as I'm going along in the training, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. This is a highly interactive training too. So I'm going to be engaging with you as well, just so, so that we're all kind of engaging with each other during this live training. And get yourself familiar with the comment box down below. And yeah, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them. And if you have anything to share as well, you can feel free to share them in the comments below. So here today, we are going to be talking about resetting and revving your metabolism. So today, what that means is that we're going to be discussing and teaching you the basics of what you need to do to reset and ignite your metabolism so that it's working at a more optimal level. Because when our metabolism is working at a more optimal level, this is where, we can get those results that we want, but it also helps us burn fat at a faster rate as well. So in this training, we are covering what is metabolism, why is our metabolism important, how to tell if our metabolism is slow, what affects metabolism, how to reset your metabolism, and what you need to do to start building a faster, stronger metabolism so that you can achieve losing that last 10 to 20 pounds, fitting better in your clothes, or, getting bikini ready for summer, or, just feeling more energized, right? So you may have noticed that, and let me know if you can relate to this. You may have noticed that, when you've hit 25, 30, 35, even 40, that your energy is different, that your muscles, you feel your muscles and joints more when you do things, right? When you're, doing activity. Or you may have noticed that it may be easier to gain weight than it is to lose. Let me know in the comments if you've noticed any of this as you've been getting older, as you've been. Oh, hey, Stephanie. Awesome. So glad you can make it. Just gonna see if I can tag a few more people that had mentioned that they were in it. Yeah. So let me know if you can relate to that, as you've gotten older, you've noticed that there's been these subtle changes, right? Maybe, when you go to eat certain foods, all of a sudden, it's you're bloated from certain things, or your energy is just different. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so Heidi says losing weight is very hard. Yeah, as we get older, it seems to get harder and harder as we get older. And what we used to be able to do in our 20s, movement wise, eating wise, it may be harder for us to do that same stuff as we get older, right? For some of us, maybe we used to be able to binge on certain foods when we were younger, but do that 20 years later, do that 10 years later when we're in our 30s or our 40s, or even older, like when we're in our 50s, and the weight just seems to pile on, or it just seems to carry on, right? So you're not alone in this, and this is something that naturally does occur. So the reasons why this occurs is because when it comes to our metabolism, it does naturally slow down, and it also is slowed down by other things that we're doing in life too. Like stress can definitely have an effect on our metabolism, not getting enough sleep, right? Other things, especially what we're eating. If we got such a busy go life that we're eating out a few times a week, that can even have an effect on our metabolism. What we're putting into our bodies definitely can have an effect on our metabolism. The other thing that is key to note is that as we get older, certain hormones get produced less, and certain ones may get off balance or in excess. And this can all have an effect on our metabolism, on our energy, right? On the rate in which our body can burn fat and calories as well, or how quickly it can lose weight. So let me know if you can relate to any of these, and you can just say, yes, I relate to this, or you can put, the individual ones if you want to. So can you relate to any of these? Let me know in the comments. Gaining weight quickly and not being able to lose it. I know when I went through my weight loss struggle, this was something that was new to me, where I ended up gaining 20 pounds within like a really short time, like literally January 2013 to like end of March, I gained 20 pounds. 2-month period, gained 20 pounds. And most of my life, I had a fast metabolism and had trouble gaining weight. So that year, when that happened, I was like, okay, something's up. This is not good, right? And, for some of you, maybe you've gained a big amount of weight in a short amount of time, right? Maybe that happened to you. Let me know if you can relate to this as well. Gain some weight over the pandemic and are struggling to lose it. So for some of you, maybe it was like a gradual weight gain, and you know exactly what it was from, having a sedentary lifestyle, snacking because everybody was at home, right? And or having cravings, and or just having a gradual where you've gained weight, and it's been more of a struggle to lose. Let me know how many of you here are going through that. Okay, Stephanie says, certainly do. I've been gaining for the past few years and it seems impossible to lose. Okay, yeah. So that can definitely be indicative of like a slow metabolism when that happens. And yeah, I want you to know though, even though it's been a struggle to lose, I'm going to share with you some things today that are going to help you, to get back on track, but also to, start getting things back into where you can start making progress, right? Especially with your metabolism, right? How you can reset it. But yeah, no, I definitely feel for you when, when you keep gaining weight and then it's been more of a struggle to lose. It can really have an effect on your energy, your health, and what you can do, right? Okay, let me know if you can relate. Having no motivation to get the workout done. Oh, I hope I hit record. Oh, I did. No, I didn't. Shoot, I was supposed to record this. No, we are recording. Okay, good. Sorry, guys. Forgot I did that. Oh, sorry, I got another message. Somebody was messaging me there. All right, so yeah, having no motivation to get the workout done, having no energy. So feeling tired and having inconsistencies in your workouts, having inconsistencies even with your healthy eating habits. So even that can, have an effect on your metabolism, right? Okay, so let me know if you can relate to this as well. Are you fed up with trying all these things and nothing seems to work? I know for a lot of you, you have tried a lot of different things and have not gotten the results that you want, or have had very little to no results. And, for some of you, do you have dry skin, hair, nails, brittle skin, nails? That can be a sign too that not only is your metabolism slow, that is related to also low thyroid. So the thyroid, which is master gland over our metabolism, some of the symptoms of a slow metabolism also correlate with low thyroid. So having dry skin, hair, nails, brittle hair, nails. I don't know why I went to go touch my hair. My hair is not brittle. I just have some split ends because I got to get it cut. Having cold hands and feet, that can also be indicative too of your metabolism is slow, or your thyroid is low, especially constantly feeling cold all the time. And let me know if you relate to this too, feeling overwhelmed, hopeless, and frustrated that nothing is working. I was definitely there before 10 years ago. And if you are there, I promise you, you do not have to stay stuck there or think that you're limited, or that this is how your life is going to be, or your health is going to be for the rest of your life. And let me know in the comments if you can relate to any of these. I'm going to just check again to see. Oops, messages are coming in. Okay, Stephanie says, being able to make the time and feel motivated when I do has been a problem too. Yeah, so not having that motivation, that competitive edge. And yeah, that can definitely be a sign of, a slow metabolism, but also it can be a sign that maybe your thyroid also might be low. I do have a symptom checker that we'll do in this live training that you guys can test out for yourselves, and for yourself, make note of what symptoms that you have that correlate to that hormone. And Yeah, no, it can definitely be a struggle when you don't have the motivation. Like, how are you supposed to work out when you're like, I don't have the motivation or the energy, right? Like, that can be really, really hard. And that's where it can be almost like a vicious cycle there, where, the things that you need to do to reset and rev your metabolism, you're not able to do, right? But there is a way, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys, with you all today in this training. Okay. So you are in the right place. If, you have put on weight, you've been overweight, you've been struggling to lose it. If you are someone who has gained in certain areas like your hips, belly, back of the arms, and these are known as your trouble spots, or you've been having trouble losing it despite eating healthy, despite working out, or, just in general as well. You are in the right place if you are someone who has no motivation to work out. You are in the right place if you constantly feel tired all the time, feel tired to do your workouts, go for walks, or, you're just exhausted. You are in the right place if you have a poor pain tolerance to exercise. So what does that mean? That means, for example, you do a little bit of movement and you feel very sore, and I don't want to say it's painful, because it's just you feel your muscles a lot more than you did before, or you feel exhausted more quickly as well, right? That can also be indicative of a poor pain tolerance to exercise as well. And, if you are in this category, I know when I was going through my weight loss struggle, I didn't understand why exercise had become so hard for me, especially because that was like the thing that I loved to do, was move my body. But I would feel very fatigued in my muscles very quickly. And so that can be poor pain tolerance to exercise, that feeling fatigued very quickly. You just did one side and already, your thighs are already, whatever part you're working is already feeling exhausted and fatigued. And you're like, I have to do another set, right? So these are some things that can be indicative too of a low thyroid, is that poor pain tolerance to exercise. You are in the right place if you have a low thyroid or hormonal imbalances. You are in the right place if you're constantly stressed and feeling drained. You are in the right place if you are done feeling stuck, overwhelmed, trying to figure out what you need to do and how to move your body, what to eat on your own. And you want a simpler way of doing things so that you can start making progress towards your goals, so that you can start feeling good in your body, so that you can start feeling healthier and fitting better into your clothes, or, start making progress towards your weight loss goals or your toning goals, right? Your fat burning and toning goals, right? So for some of you, you may not know me. If you don't know me, I'm going to do just a quick introduction about myself. And, depending on where you are, I just want you to know that, even if you think that transformation is not possible, it is possible for you. It's just you haven't been shown how, and that's what I'm going to do in this training for you. So here's a little bit about me. Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm a certified personal trainer, yoga instructor, and I'm also a nutrition wellness specialist. I'm an intuitive empath, a mom of one, and a wifey. Back in 2013, I had my own weight loss struggle where I had gained 20 pounds in a year. It was actually really 2.5 months, I gained 20 pounds. And no matter what I did, I could not lose it. I didn't understand how, when I was personal training years before having my daughter, how I was able to help these women lose weight, but I couldn't help myself. Actually, I was feeling quite like a failure there, because I was like, how did I help all these women before me, but then I couldn't help myself? So what was the missing piece? Why wasn't the weight just dropping off like it had always done before, right? And that's sometimes the gift and the curse of having a fast metabolism. In your head, you're like, I can eat whatever I want and it just gets burnt off. But the truth is, you can't just eat whatever you want for the rest of your life. Like that binge eating that you do when you're younger does eventually catch up with you. Now, when I went through my weight loss struggle, back in 10 years ago, I was going through a weight loss struggle, literally right at this time. And I was starting to do those desperate things, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it was kind of like I was dealing with a whole new metabolism, a slow one. And the truth was, as much as I didn't want to accept it, is that my metabolism had slowed down. And I knew it slowed down. I think that March or April of 2013, I went and got a test by my doctor to see how my thyroid was doing. Apparently, when your general practitioner, your family doctor tests you, they're not doing like a full thyroid panel. So the test came back fine. He's like, no, your thyroid's fine. Nothing, nothing's wrong with it. And da, 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 da. And like, so I was a little confused because I was like, well, what the hell? Like, I've gained 20 pounds in a really short amount of time. Like, that's pretty indicative of like a slow metabolism, and like, something is up with my thyroid. I'm sure if I had that full thyroid panel, I may have gotten different results, but you have to go through a natural path to do that. And at the time, I didn't do that. I didn't do that at that particular time. I did eventually find out that, yes, I did have a low thyroid, and I didn't necessarily do it through the blood test, but through a hormonal assessment that was done by naturopath, based off of the symptoms that I was having. So the truth is that my metabolism had slowed down, and like I said, I had a hard time accepting this. I knew that this was exactly what was going on, even though at that time, getting the thyroid test back saying it's fine, I was a little bit confused too as to what was actually going on in my body. I didn't realize hormones had such big play, like other than your thyroid. Your thyroid produces hormones, right? It's a gland that produces hormones for your body, but there's also a lot of other hormones that, if one of them becomes off balance, it can actually throw things off for a lot of different hormones, and even cause your metabolism to slow down as well, right? And I was surprised too that because my thyroid levels were fine, I had no idea that other hormones were actually involved in it, right? Other hormones being out of balance were actually involved. And not only were they involved, they were also the cause of a lot of the new symptoms I was having that year, like the constant cravings, the constant wanting to just, I don't know, feelings of eating the house. What else was there? There was energy, dips in my energy too, right? Anxiety, irritation, depression, right? So a lot of these actually had to do with a lot of the other hormones as well. Even sometimes when I would binge, right, and binge eat, that had to do with a lot of certain hormones as well too. So let me know in the comments if you are someone who has been experiencing a lot of different symptoms since putting on weight. It could be cravings, dips in energy, moodiness, digestive issues. Let me know in the comments if any of you experience some of these symptoms, right? The cravings, the dips in energy, the dips in energy. Sorry, I did say dips in energy. Digestive issues, sleep issues, moodiness. Let me know in the comments. And then let me just check. Okay, let me see. Definitely. Stephanie says definitely. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of these other symptoms that you do have are related to hormonal imbalances, right? And at the time when I was going through this, after gaining the weight, and then it was a struggle to lose it. So what I ended up doing, and especially it's interesting because it's exactly like 10 years ago, like 2013, and we're in 2023. And anyways, that spring, like I was determined. I was like, I'm getting this off. I'm getting this off. I don't care. I'm getting this off. I don't know how I ended up letting myself gain 20 pounds in such a short amount of time. I really like, as much as I told myself, oh, you're just bloated like the months prior, I realized that I was like, no, that's not bloat. You gain weight. And it wasn't until I tried to like get into pants that spring, like they were my jeans and I couldn't actually fit into them. So I got really determined. I was like, okay, I'm going to do shit tons of cardio. I don't like cardio, by the way, but I was like, I'm going to do it only because as a trainer, that's one of the things that we're taught is like, you have, you know, especially with clients that have a lot of weight to lose, you're doing kind of a mix of resistance training, but then there's more of an emphasis on cardio in their training too. And then like on their off days, they're supposed to be doing training. So anyways, I was like, okay, I'm going to do some cardio. I did Zumba to my favorite songs because I don't actually like doing cardio. I didn't have like boxing equipment at my home. Otherwise I would have did like boxing. And you know, when it comes to exercise, you really have to find stuff that you enjoy. So I enjoyed music and people did like these Zumba dance things that I would like try to follow along with. And I would do about 3-4 days out of the week. When I did use weights, there was that poor pain tolerance thing happening. So like, I don't know, I was a little discouraged from using weights at the time because when I go to use it, I would just feel so fatigued. And I'm just like, why do I feel this way? I never used to feel this way off of weights before. And then I was trying to clean up my nutrition. Now at the time, I didn't know that I had a sensitivity to gluten, which is wheat. Had no idea I had a sensitivity to it. And this might have been why it was hard for me to lose the weight in the first place, because the wheat and the gluten was actually causing inflammation in my body. So were other foods that I think I was eating too. But I did try to clean up as best as I could my eating habits. And so I would eat healthy during the week. I'll admit on weekends, maybe I did like not necessarily binge every weekend, but I would at least, indulge a little bit because, you can't deprive yourself, because then that's where you end up binging. And I knew that about myself. But yeah, were there weekends where I maybe binged a little? Yes, because, holidays, long weekends come up and you get invited to a barbecue or somebody brings chips in the house. That's somebody usually. I buy chips for the family, but that's kind of what ended up happening was I go from this doing good all week, and then it was almost like I was in the cycle of starting again every Monday because of that, right? And anyways, by May of 2013, almost exactly 10 years ago, I noticed the weight still wasn't dropping off. And I used to be obsessed with like weighing myself on a daily and several times a day, which I don't want you guys doing that. That's too obsessive. It's going to stress you out. There is a way to weigh yourself so that you can actually see the progress that you're making versus you're doing it obsessively and now it's stressing you out. So what I was doing was actually stressing me out because it was obsessive. I would do it in the morning, afternoon, in the evening. And then of course, in the evening, you've eaten food. So like, you're going to be more than whatever you were in the morning, but then I get disappointed in myself and beat myself up about it. So I don't want that for you. If you are someone who weighs yourself daily, stop weighing yourself daily. Do it once a week. And you want to do it in the morning, after you've gone number 2 and before breakfast. And then that's how you find your true weight. Sometimes I know for some people that might be hard. So do your best, just weigh yourself in the morning, like before breakfast, I would say then, if, number 2 is not happening. But that's how you find your true weight. And you want to do it once a week, not obsessively every day. And especially if you know you're going to get on yourself about it, because we don't want that. We don't want to stress ourselves out, because stress can affect our hormones, can affect our energy and metabolism. And it's not to say we need stress-free lives. I mean, that would be really great, but there's always going to be some stress in our life. We just need to know how to like regulate ourselves when there is stress, or when there's too much stress, taking stuff off. So back spring 10 years ago, oh my gosh. So yeah, I was a little frustrated that the weight wasn't dropping off. I would fluctuate between 130 and 133, which for my height, bone frame size, and for my height, age, and bone frame size. No, it's not age. Sorry, just bone frame size and height. That is not in health. It's actually overweight. Like, I think the highest that my height is, the range is between 111 and 125, and it's not to say that, you can't be muscle weight and weigh that much, right? You can have muscle weight and weigh that much, but if you have, it's not muscle weight, it's not muscle weight, it's like excess weight, this is where it can start to cause other health issues, right? And I had a ton of health issues that year. I had anxiety, depression. I had a ton of digestive issues that year. It was not cool. But I remember feeling like very frustrated though too, because here I was putting all this work into like, trying to lose it. Normally it would have just dropped off and I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. And it wasn't happening that year. It was literally like, I'm dealing with a new metabolism, and it was very hard. Like, the struggle was real. Like, I was, despite doing the Zumba for 3-4 days of the week, plus healthy eating, I still was just fluctuating between 130 and 133, which was the same amount that I was in at the, like, halfway through March, end of March. And, I was feeling frustrated. I was feeling like hopeless. And I was like, okay, what the hell? And I've been putting in all this work and still no changes. My goal at that time was to lose weight so that I could fit back into my summer clothes from the year before, because I really didn't want to have to go out and buy new summer clothes. I wanted to wear like the shorts and the jeans. Like, I was like, okay, if I can't even get into a bikini, that's fine. But I'm like, I want to at least wear the clothes that I've worn for the last couple of summers, my summer clothes. And for it to not fit, like, that was very depressing for me. And especially after a month and a half, 2 months of doing like hard work, working towards like doing the things that I knew as a trainer that helped other clients, it wasn't helping me. And that was very frustrating. It was also very disappointing. And, this is where I started to feel like, okay, June's not far away. I need to push myself more. And so this is where I became more strict with myself, especially with the eating. And that really didn't help. How many of you here have either tried cardio to lose weight, or tried to clean up your eating, or get strict with your eating? Let me know in the comments below. REM. Okay, sleep diet. Heidi, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, even those health issues can be, a lot of them are caused by stress. A lot of them are also caused by hormonal imbalances. Yeah. So thank you for sharing those. Yep. Okay, Stephanie says, yep. Yeah. So, sometimes when we get, I don't want to, at this point, it's like we're determined, but we're also, we're like, okay, I've tried all these things. Nothing seems to work. And this is where we can start to kind of get harder on ourselves. And sometimes doing the hard, like when I say harder on ourselves, I mean, we can just get more restrictive, with what we're doing, right? Which can stress ourselves out. So I started to do things out of desperation, which I'm not proud to say, but it was a learning lesson. And you know what? In a way, I'm glad that I went through that, because I know I'm not alone in doing things out of desperation to try to, get back to my ideal weight and, size that I was even the summer before. Right. So I started to do things out of desperation, for example, like restricting calories, and I even started to cut out all carbs except for lettuce. That was like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking there. And it wasn't even like the romaine lettuce, it was iceberg lettuce that I was like, here, I'm going to eat this and see how, see how that goes for me. And then I actually got to a point where I'm like, oh, fats are the enemy too. So I started cutting out like healthy fats too. I would never do that again, and nor would I ever recommend that to anybody to do, because that just sets you up for failure. It also sets you up for binging, and we don't want to binge, because binging can totally sabotage whatever we're working towards, right? Yeah, at that time, when I say I was literally eating lettuce as my carb, I literally cut out like bread, pasta, potato, cheese. I cut out cheese. I love cheese. But yeah, I would have lettuce, and by itself, no dressing. Have you guys ever had lettuce with no dressing? No feta, just plain lettuce by itself. It's not really the best tasting. I'm just going to tell you that. And I would never recommend that to someone. I do nowadays, like sometimes I skip the dressing on my whatever, on my Greek salad, but I always have feta. But yeah, when it comes to like doing restrictive stuff like that, it just, it, even though in our head we make it okay at that time, what that leads to is, us feeling deprived, and then us binging on other stuff that we shouldn't be binging on later on, right? Not only that, lettuce by itself is just not that tasty. I have had romaine lettuce with the feta, and I'm like, that's good, but you don't want to do things that are going to make you feel deprived, because when we feel deprived, that's what leads to binging. That's what leads to the self-sabotage, especially when it comes to our metabolism, our digestive system, right? And it makes when we binge like that, we are essentially hurting our digestive system, especially when we're eating certain foods to a point where we feel sick, or we're like, oh, I shouldn't eat that, now I don't feel so good, right? We don't want to feel deprived, because that's what leads to binging. And then binging does hurt our digestive system, because our digestive system only has enough bile and enzymes to break down a certain amount of food at once. And when we overeat, as in binge, anything extra that it can't break down, it gets stored as energy for later, right? It gets stored as fat. So we want to keep that in mind, especially if we want to make progress towards our goals, especially if we want to live a healthier lifestyle, healthier, more energetic lifestyle as well. And, just feel good in our body, and, get our body confidence back, right? So let me know in the comments, have you done that before? Either restricted calories, like eating very little throughout the day, like 1 to 2 meals, or counted calories and restricted the calories to 12 to 1300 calories or even less in a day. Let me know if you've done that before. I know for myself, because I know what I know, I basically restricted myself to 1300 calories. I was like, okay, we're just doing 1300. Still was too low for my height and my body, but also the energy I was putting out too. It was still too low, right, for my energy expenditure throughout the day, right? And I don't, when I've done clients their macros for them and explain to them, what they should, the range of food or range of calories they should be aiming for in a day, I've never put somebody on a 1300 calorie diet. It's always been like, it depends on what they are, their height, their goals, right? Usually it ranges anywhere from like 1,400 to like 2,000 a day for calories, right? And that's what we should be aiming for. Now, to get specific about what's right for you, you definitely want to talk with someone. I can definitely help you with that if you want to get clear about what you need in a day. The other thing too is, have you tried cutting out carbs or healthy fats because you think they're the enemy? That was one thing that I was doing. And, maybe you're in the same boat too. No carbs and counting calories. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm not the only one who thought carbs were the enemy, right? And carbs aren't the enemy. We actually need carbs for energy, but when it comes to carbs, some of us may have a lower carb tolerance than others, and some of us might have a moderate carb tolerance, right? And some of us might be carb fueled, and we just need to, find what our body thrives off best. Because when we know what it thrives off best, that's what can actually help us get to those goals. And yeah, counting calories. Yeah, there's a lot of information out there about counting calories. What I'm going to help you guys do today in this training is to step away from counting calories and counting your macros instead. Because when we start focusing on the macros versus the calories, this is where, we can actually start to, not only see the results that we want, but we can start to fuel our body in the way that our body needs to be fueled. So I'm going to give you a little bit of tips how to do that today in today's live training. And believe it or not, one of the ways that we can actually boost our metabolism is by eating more frequently throughout the day, but also eating enough as well. So as a food lover and fitness expert, I know that at that time I was in a dark place with food, and I was also in a dark place with my body at that time. And, it really makes me realize how far I've come and how much my body has healed physically, mentally, and emotionally by finding answers. And, just by taking that imperfect action into the steps that I needed to take back then, I literally had to start from scratch, which was hard because before my daughter, here I was, this trainer helping so many people with weight loss, nutrition. And then after I had my daughter, I was still pretty good, still generally pretty healthy. And then she was about almost 3 when I started going through my weight loss struggle. And it was actually caused by a birth control shot, which we'll get into in a moment. But, looking back at it, having to start back from scratch, literally, and start in a place that I've never been before. And, looking at how much my body's healed since then, and, knowing the work that went into that, I want this for you guys too, because I know where you guys are. Maybe some of you are exactly in that same spot I was back then, where you're in a dark place with food and your body, right? And even if nothing's working, even if you feel like hopeless and frustrated, that, here you are putting all this work in and you're not seeing the results or making the progress that you want. I want you to know that there's still hope for you, that you too can experience getting back your energy so that you can enjoy life again. You can be more productive. You can get back to life. You can even get back to the ideal size you were, pre-baby, or, maybe even just a few years ago, right? If you were at your ideal size, or the ideal weight, right? I want you to know that you can get back to feeling healthy again and having the energy and being productive throughout your day. Because I know for some of you, sometimes those dips in energy can make you feel less productive and how am I not getting this stuff done? Right? And especially if you have little ones that you got to chase after and take care of, yeah, you need your energy for those. If you have, little ones plus you work, you need energy for that, right? So I feel you. I totally get where you're at, and I want you to know there's still hope for you, that you can get your health back, that you can get your energy back, and that you too can experience getting back your energy, getting back, if you had a fast metabolism before, just like I did, my metabolism fast again, which is awesome. And I want you to know that you can get your fast metabolism back too, so that you can get your energy back, right? So that you can get back to doing the things that you love and enjoy again, and feeling good in your body, because we want to feel good, we want to feel healthy, we want to feel good, we also want to feel that body confidence that we used to have, or we just want to feel it more. Right? So resetting and building a faster metabolism, so that you can let go of the excess weight that is no longer serving you and causing so many health issues and stress, right? We're going to let that go in this training. Or at least I'm going to show you how you can start making progress towards resetting your metabolism and revving it, so that you can start to make progress and start letting go of that excess weight and start getting your energy back, right? So I've not only been able to get my fast metabolism and energy back, but I've got my health back. And back in 2012, my digestive issues were so bad that I had to go for an endoscopy and colonoscopy. And then in 2018, when my doctor finally sent me back, because I guess you have to have one every 3 years. I skipped, I guess. Anyways, I was feeling good. But in 2018, when they sent me back, there was no more polyps in my esophagus. Sorry, I meant to mention that too. I had polyps in my esophagus in 2012, and I guess they were benign. Anyways, 6 years later, when they sent me back in 2018, the doctor's like, I don't even know why I sent you here. Or sorry, not my family doctor, but the doctor that did the endoscopy. He's like, I don't know why you were sent here, because there's nothing wrong, like you're perfectly fine. And I was like, oh, I'm like, there's no polyps? And he's like, no. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay. I'm like, so let me get this. I'm like, the benign polyps can go away. And he's like, yes, because they're caused by inflammation. So something that I really didn't know, was possible. But anyways, by doing some of the things that I did back in 2014, which was, reducing inflammation, was, just cleaning up my nutrition and, resetting my metabolism and revving my resetting and revving my metabolism. By doing that, that led me to clear up a lot of other health issues that were happening too, right? So a lot of resetting the metabolism had to actually do with reducing inflammation, and also resetting my hormones in order for my metabolism to get reset. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So this is possible for you too. You can get your health back, through food, through movement, through lifestyle changes. And, you can get better health. You can get better sleep, less stress, right? You can get back to enjoying food versus feeling like food's the enemy. Because I know when we start going through a weight struggle, like where we're trying to lose weight and it's not dropping off no matter what we do, we start viewing carbs or fats, or for some people view food as the enemy, and it's not the enemy. Certain foods, yes, like heavily processed foods, we want to limit or reduce, but we don't want to think food is the enemy, right? So we don't want to deprive ourselves of our favorite foods, because we want to get to that point of enjoying food, knowing how to make healthy food choices. And let's face it, food is a love language, right? I'm a food lover. It's nice to connect with friends and family over food, and it can be really depressing when you can't do that. Like even me, after having to go gluten-free and stuff, that sometimes happens where, I don't feel depressed. I just feel like, oh, I wish I could have some of what they're having. It's just, it's going to kill me. When it's like wheat stuff, right? Sometimes I do break my gluten free because there's certain things that I'm like, okay, that I can do and it's not going to hurt me too much. But for the most part, that's something that, you know, even I've had to struggle with beyond the weight loss struggle. Now, where you guys are is probably you're feeling that carbs are the enemy. You're feeling that, you know, healthy fats are maybe the enemy, right? Foods that are too high in calories are the enemy, and they're not necessarily the enemy. We want to look at where our calories are coming from, some more nutrient dense foods. So we want to make that switch, right? So food is love and it is our nourishment. So we really shouldn't be depriving ourselves of that, but it does help to know how to make healthy food choices and to also know what macros your body thrives off best. And I do have a quiz for you guys. If you do want to do that, you can always message me after the chat and I can send you the form, and then that way we can find out what macros that your body thrives off best and whether or not you have a low or moderate carb tolerance. And because knowing is half the battle, the other half of the battle is moving our bodies. And I just want you to take a moment. Just imagine for a moment that you accomplished your goal, whether it's losing the weight, getting a toned and flatter tummy, being toned all over, that you're healthier, you have more energy throughout your day, you're able to get things done and spend time with those that you love. You have time to do the things that you love and enjoy as well, right? Imagine that you accomplished your goal, losing 20 pounds, losing inches all over or in your waistline, whichever it is, being able to fit better into clothes. Maybe you do have a goal of being bikini ready for summer, right? Having more energy, feeling good, happier and healthier in your body, having that body confidence again that you once had or that you had maybe a few years ago, right? Imagine having, you know, imagine feeling sexy and having that body confidence with or without clothes on, right? This is possible for you. I want you to achieve your goals, and I also want you to have a faster metabolism as well. And I do know how you can get that. So that's why I want to share this with you in this training. I want you to be able to get back to your ideal weight and size. And not only that, I want you to be healthier, happier, more energetic, having the energy, not having dips in energy, you know, just feeling good, because, you know, when we feel good, we feel healthy, you know, good things happen, all things come into place when we got our health, you know, when we have our health in balance and, you know, we have things that, you know, we're doing to support our health, our metabolism and our hormones, which today, that's exactly what I'm teaching you. So I'm just going to check to see how everybody's doing. Oh, shoot, I will have to check that later. Sorry, messages coming in. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. So what exactly is metabolism? Metabolism includes all the biomechanical reactions in your body that use nutrients for food and oxygen to create energy. And there are lots of factors that affect how quickly or how slowly it works. This is, for example, your metabolic rate, which is measured in calories. So the rate in which your body breaks down food for energy, right? And with our metabolism includes how the cells in your body, they allow the activities you can control. So physical activity, your energy expenditure, right? Like what you're doing in a day, you know, running after the kids, exercising, if you work and you have to like move stuff, lift stuff, right? They also includes how the cells in your body allow activities you can't control. So there's like regular functions like heartbeat, wound healing, processing of nutrients and toxins, and also how they allow the storage of excess energy for later. So remember, I talked about when we overeat or when we binge eat, especially, how that can cause our body to store excess energy for later. So when you put all these processes together into your metabolism, you can imagine that they can either work too quickly, too slowly, or just right. We generally want to be in the just right range, which means we need to do things to nourish our metabolism and hormones, especially keeping our thyroid hormone in balance. Now, another thing to note too is there is definitely a connection between your metabolism and your digestive system. And when we have digestive issues, this can actually slow our metabolism down too. And I want you to keep that in mind, because if you're someone who has like GERD, you have heartburn frequently, you have H. pylori is definitely it's more of an infection, but it can cause digestive issues too. If you have constipation, right? Gut inflammation too, that can be a big one as well. Anything that can throw our digestion off can throw things off for our thyroid and hormones as well, right? And it can also slow our metabolism down. So I want you to keep in mind there's a connection between our metabolism and our digestive system. And when we nourish our digestive system, even something simple as taking like a probiotic daily and like getting more fresh foods into our diet can help support our digestive system and our microbiome. The other thing to keep in mind too is a lot of our hormones get created in the gut. So even though we have hormones and glands like at various parts of our bodies, a lot of them actually get created in the gut, right? Serotonin, dopamine, what else is there? A lot of different ones, they get created in the gut. The point is, when our gut health isn't working, isn't functioning the way that it should, it can cause a lot of other issues like a slow metabolism. It can cause hormonal imbalances, right? And we want to be mindful of this. So we want to do things that, also aid in digestion, also help with our digestive system, because when we have both our digestive system and our metabolism working at working at an optimal rate, this is where we can start to see those results. This is where we can start to feel healthier, more energetic, less moody. It's crazy to think that food that we eat can make us moody, but it can, right? Especially if we're sensitive to it, especially if it's causing heartburn or any kind of indigestion, bloating that you have all day, right? So keep that in mind. And going into this next one. So with our metabolism, one of the ways that we can tell if we have a slow metabolism is that gaining weight can be a sign. And not only gaining weight, but gaining weight and struggling to lose it can be a sign that your metabolism and your thyroid may be working at a slower rate. So this is usually the root cause of why people gain weight. They have a slow metabolism, hormonal imbalances, usually low thyroid, as well as others. And it's also due to inflammation. So why is our metabolism important? Our metabolism is important because when it's fast, it readily uses food for energy, which is what helps when it comes to weight loss. So when our metabolism is slow, it causes us to gain weight, and it also may be a struggle to lose weight, right? And when we continue to gain weight, we really put ourselves at risk for other health issues like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, mobility issues, thyroid issues, autoimmune diseases, digestive problems, and we may not feel as energized as we once did, making us less productive or, causing us to not enjoy life as much, as this can also feel very limiting as to what we can physically do, which can play on our psyche as well, right? And even if you're dealing with energy issues, just know that with energy issues there are ways to get it back, right? And don't feel like as you get older you're just going to keep getting more and more tired. There are ways to keep your energy good, to regenerate your energy, rejuvenate your body, right? And So here's how to tell if your metabolism is slow. Okay, one of the ways to tell is fatigue, feeling tired all the time. You may constantly feel tired. This also could be due to a low thyroid. Okay, so if you're constantly feeling tired or fatigued all the time, especially like you're having a hard time even getting the workout done, that can be a sign of your metabolism being slow and your thyroid being low. Weight gain, gaining weight, general obesity, low thyroid. Sorry guys, I did not mean to burp. My stomach's empty, that's why. I will eat soon after this. Weight gain, gaining weight, general obesity. So also having a low thyroid can also be indicative of your metabolism being slow. Depression, not having any motivation, struggling to lose weight despite eating healthier and exercising. Hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's disease. So that's an autoimmune disease that attacks the thyroid. Other hormonal imbalances and conditions, so PCOS, estrogen dominance, endometriosis, insulin resistance. There are other conditions. I just didn't list them all here, but those are some that I will mention because they definitely can also cause a slow metabolism and make it harder for you to lose weight. Dry hair, skin, brittle nails, cold hands and feet, constantly feeling cold, lack of sweating, right? Some of these are, also related to a low thyroid, but can also be indicative that your metabolism is slow. And I'm going to pull up this next one because this is the low thyroid symptoms. So this is a checker that I use with clients, but also that was first used with me. Sorry, I went too far. And I did it again. I'm going to share my screen in a moment. I just want to get this all. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Going into. Oh, another message came in. All right. Give me one sec. How do I share my screen? One sec, guys. Share screen. Hey. Okay, there we are. Okay, so take a sorry guys. Take a look at this list here. This is a symptom checker. So when I was working with a naturopath, she actually had me do a symptom checker hormonal assessment. So she had all these different hormones. They all had different symptoms. This right here that you're looking at actually has to do with low thyroid and is specific to low thyroid. So take note of which ones apply to you. You will notice that a lot of the ones that I've already been mentioning about slow metabolism are some of the same symptoms that are related to actually a low thyroid, right? So I didn't go into all of these, but definitely when you have loss of motivation, competitive edge, you're going through depression, weight gain, overweight, general obesity, right? There's that dry skin, brittle hair and nails, acne, lack of sweating, feeling cold or cold hands and feet, right? PMS, infertility, long menstrual cycle, or irregular periods can also be indicative of a low thyroid. So take note of which ones apply to you. Poor memory, where is it? Fatigue, feeling tired, exhausted all the time. Heart palpitations can also be indicative of a low thyroid. So take note of which ones apply to you. Hair loss, loss of libido, hives, iron deficient anemia, pernicious anemia, which is a different anemia, but that one's where your body's not absorbing the B12. So that's also one to keep in mind too. Constipation, right? So make note of which ones apply to you. The warning score for this, yeah, so basically just take note of which ones apply to you, write it down how many of them that you got, and then I'll tell you what the warning score is for this one, because chances are that, you know, some of you who, especially if you've been struggling with gaining weight or weight gain, that you may actually have a low thyroid. That might be one of the reasons why you're gaining weight, right? Along with other hormonal imbalances. So take note of which ones apply to you, and then you know, write down what your score was, how many of these different symptoms that you had, right? So if you had weight gain, dry skin and hair, you know, it would be one for each of these bullets. Okay, poor tolerance to exercise, right? Check that off. I know when I did this, I had like a score of 11 or 12. So my thyroid was low, even though the test from my general practitioner, my family doctor, came back fine. I wonder what it would have been if I had done the test through a naturopath. Like, this is a hormonal assessment. It doesn't test my blood, but based on the symptoms, it was indicative that I indeed was having a low thyroid. And to be honest with you, that actually made the most sense. So I'll take a look at where everybody's at. Okay, so take note of what it applies to you. So the warning score for this is 8. Oh, did I just? Okay. Anyways, we will go into stop share. Okay. So the warning score for that one is 8. So if you got more than 8 of the symptoms, this can be indicative of a low thyroid. And there are definitely things that you can do to start bringing it back up. And, you know, some of the things that, you know, affects our metabolism are some of the same things that affect our hormones and our thyroid. So what affects our metabolism? Sitting down all day, living a sedentary lifestyle, poor nutrition, under eating, so not eating enough, restricting calories. What else? Inflammation. So inflammation causing foods, so sugar, heavily processed foods, foods that we might be sensitive to and not know it, right? I always say to people, you know, notice how you feel off of food, because if you're eating something and then it doesn't make you feel good, you know, it could be that maybe that food's not for you, right? Or maybe you're sensitive to that food as well, right? Hormonal imbalances, so excess insulin, dysregulated insulin, excess cortisol, excess estrogen. These are just a few that I'm mentioning, but there's other hormones that could be out of balance as well, right? Like serotonin, you know, GABA could be out of balance. What are some other? Progesterone, testosterone, right? Even low estrogen, right, can also can be a hormonal imbalance that can cause excess insulin or dysregulated insulin levels too, as well, right? Stress. We're never going to have a life that's where there's no stress whatsoever. There's always going to be some stress in our life. But what we can do is we can try to reduce our stress, right? By doing like self-regulation stuff like yoga, deep breathing into our bellies, using essential oils, maybe not putting so much on our plate. I know it's hard when we have like young kids at home, or if we have like, we're entrepreneurs, or we're working 2-3 jobs and we're constantly going. It can be really hard to, you know, just be like, oh, I'm just can magically take stuff off my plate so I can relax. Sometimes that can be really hard, right? So we do the best we can. And, you know, if we do have a lot on our plate, we just need to make time for our self-care, right? And self-care in the way of like, you know, doing something relaxing, maybe doing something fun we enjoy. Even socializing can be, you know, something that can be relaxing as well, right? Doing a hot bath, right? These are some ways that we can reduce stress. Even supplementing can also help with stress. I know there's a supplement that I do take when I have say very busy productive weeks, and it's called Relora. It does help, but there's other ones you can take too, like magnesium's a good one as well. That's like can help with stress, can help reduce stress, right? Poor sleep habits can be something that affects our metabolism, our thyroid, our hormones. Under eating, restricting calories. So we know we've been talking about that one. That one can definitely cause us to already restricting calories will cause a hormonal imbalance, even though we don't realize it. It can cause a hormonal imbalance. It can also mess with our cycle, like our moon time cycle. And when we're under eating or restricting calories, we're not doing ourselves good. We're doing more harm than good. So keep that in mind. This is why it's good to know what you should be eating in a day, and even where those what macro portions that you should be eating that are going to help you best thrive, that are going to help you fuel your body, right? Because that'll actually help you bring hormones into balance, believe it or not. Skipping meals, not eating at all. So some people are like, I'm fasting. That can really slow down your metabolism. Not only can it slow down your metabolism, it can cause a lot of hormonal imbalances. So be very careful. There is a proper way to fast, and there are people that should not fast, right? If the reason why they gained weight was more due to having a slow metabolism, this is where fasting can actually work against someone and can cause more harm than good. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. Nutrient deficiencies. Yeah, so nutrient deficiencies can actually cause hormonal imbalances, can also cause a low thyroid, which can actually cause slow metabolism as well. Toxins in our environment, so hormone disruptors. So that's like chemical cleaning products. I know I used to love Gain 2, but I had to make the switch. It was affecting my respiratory system, but it was also, I was getting hives, which hive free every spring. There's a chance I might get hives if I'm eating too many spicy foods, and if I'm being exposed to too many chemicals. So I'm really happy. This is one of those springs where I don't have any hives. I did get some itchiness. Like I do have some itchiness where I got burnt yesterday by the sun, but no hives. I usually get them here. I remember 2013. It was so bad. I had it like on my face, on my neck, all over, and they give you this corticosteroid cream that doesn't do anything. Like it gives you temporary relief, but it sucked because I look greasy. I look gross. And even like my family members were like, ew, you look gross, because like I had all this cream all over me, and it was depressing when it's on your face and your neck and you're like, I just don't want to go out anywhere now. Like, yeah. So anyways, hives are a thing. But anyways, reducing those toxins in our environment, those hormone disruptors, even like perfumes. I've now gotten to a point where I got rid of most of my perfumes. I only have like maybe one that's like a vanilla sugar one, and then there's another one that I don't know, I'm probably going to give away. I gave most to my daughter, but she likes I gave them to her, and then she doesn't wear them actually all the time. Once in a while she wears them. But anyways, the more we can reduce chemical cleaners in our environment, chemical stuff in our environment, and there are natural things that actually do the job quite well. I was surprised wild orange cleans up way better than any chemical cleaner that I've ever worked with. Like it cleans up tar and stuff. So the more we can reduce the chemicals in our home, the better. Even petroleum products, like I know there are some, I'm not going to like name any brands per se, but there are certain like candle waxes that say that they're eco-friendly, meanwhile they're actually petroleum based and contain perfume. So also keep that in mind too. I love good smells, but over the years I've had to reduce like I used to be in the wax melts and stuff too, and I actually had to give those away or get rid of them just because it was starting to affect my respiratory system. But the more that we can reduce toxins in our environment, It can help us reduce toxins in our body too. So keep that in mind. Another thing that affects metabolism is hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's. Remember I was talking about that's that autoimmune disease that attacks the thyroid. Metabolic syndrome, age. Okay, so now to the fun part. So how do we actually reset our metabolism? I'm just going to see if people are still with me. Is this making sense, guys? Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Okay. All right, so we're stepping deep into how to reset your metabolism. So I'm sharing some golden nuggets here. I hope you're ready for them. I hope what we've kind of gone through so far has been making sense for you. So in order to reset your metabolism, you need to do these three things. 1, reduce inflammation. 2, balance hormones and support your metabolism and hormones. And then 3, movement. Now, number 3 can actually be done with number 1 and 2. It's not like you have to do number 1 first and then 2. These all kind of actually correlate with each other. And I have a super simplified way that you can do 1, 2, and 3 together as well. All right, so number 1, reducing inflammation. So throughout this talk, we were talking about inflammation. To be honest with you, a lot of people that have gained weight, a lot of people that have, different health issues going on, a lot of it is actually caused by inflammation, right? And, yes, there's muscle inflammation when we sprain something or we overwork something, but then there's inflammation that happens through our body from what we're putting into our body or what we're exposing ourselves to in our environment. And when it comes to reducing inflammation, we need to be aware of what we're putting into our body, even foods that are too heating, right? So for example, when we're cooking foods, if we're constantly cooking fried foods, if we're having a lot of heavily processed foods, so like food from a box, if we're having a lot of foods that have added sugar and additives and that actually contain more chemical names than actual like food names, right? I know you've seen them on the cereal boxes or certain other food boxes, right? These can actually be one of the biggest causes for inflammation, right? Other things that can cause inflammation is food sensitivities. So dairy and wheat are the 2 most common. There's other ones too, like pork can cause inflammation, so can beef, oranges. I know, I was surprised too, and that's actually one that I have a little bit of a sensitivity to. Corn is another one that you can have a sensitivity to as well, right? And it's not to say you're going to cut out all these things. You're not cutting out all these things. What I want you to do is that the next time you eat wheat or gluten, notice how you feel. Do you feel tired? Do you feel like you need to take a nap afterwards? Right? Because if you need to take a nap afterwards or you feel tired afterwards, these can be signs that it could be causing inflammation in your body. If you have heartburn after eating certain foods, that can be indicative that, it could be causing inflammation in your body. Same with like dairy. If you're feeling very, very phlegmy afterwards, right, you could have a sensitivity to it, right? And it just means, if you have a sensitivity to it, reduce it as best you can. If you have an intolerance to it where it makes you feel sick, you get indigested, you get bloated right up, you get all these like digestive issues, you may need to cut it out. Like that, I have an intolerance to wheat. I unfortunately had to cut it out, and it's been like, it was trial and error. At least now there's a lot more products that are like gluten-free, and I'm like, yay, I can have bread and pasta and enjoy it, even though it's like gluten-free, right? So there's always options for us. And even sometimes when we do make these lifestyle changes, these nutrition changes, it can be scary at first because we're like, I don't know how I'm going to do with this. But so it can be also one of the best experiences that we have, one of the best lessons or things that we go through too, right? So keep that in mind, that also sensitivities to food can cause inflammation. The other thing too is nightshade plants. So for example, peppers, tomatoes. I love peppers, but tomatoes can cause inflammation. Same with whatchamacallit, potatoes. I love potatoes. So certain foods, just notice how you feel off certain foods. If you feel like you're warming up or they're causing digestive issues for you, or you're feeling tired after that, just try to, maybe reduce those foods, have those foods once in a while sort of thing, right? So reducing inflammation, this can be done through a hormone reset protocol. So a food, a movement cleanse and detox. So for a 7 to 14 day period. And this is what I started with back then, was a food and movement detox. I did both. You need both to detox because you need to move the energy in your body with movement, but you also need to clean your body from the inside out with food. And I say food because you can, as much as people put cleanse and detox together and think, oh gosh, I got to buy all these supplements and all that, you don't actually. You can literally go to your grocery store, buy lemons, beets, celery, avocados, lettuce, romaine lettuce, right? You can buy these alkaline foods, you can buy these fresh veggies and fruits, and you can actually use it in your food cleanse and detox. And I actually have a 7 to 10 day hormone reset protocol that I use with clients, that I also share with others. And they've had incredible results from it, where they've been able to balance their hormones, they've gotten rid of cravings, they've reduced weight fairly quickly. Like I had one lady who, one of my girlfriends, Narissa, she ended up losing about 8 pounds, and she just did the cleanse part. She didn't even do the other 5 days of the detox. And I was like, oh, you didn't even do the whole thing, right? So she ended up like losing 8 pounds. She noticed her energy was better. I also had another client of mine, Glenda, who in the first week, she lost 5 pounds. And then once we did the macro quiz with her and figured out what macro she thrives off best, and that we found out that she in fact had a low carb tolerance. So ever since then, she's actually lost 15 pounds, which I'm like, that's freaking amazing. So, but she's been doing movement too, like doing exercises as well with that too, right? But for the first week, we worked on reducing inflammation. When you do that, that's where you can start to cleanse your liver and your gallbladder, which is important when it comes to digestion, because your gallbladder produces bile, and that helps break down and metabolize fats, carbs, and protein so that they can be used for energy, right? So you need to have that in place, because when that's not in place, your digestive system's sluggish, your metabolism can become sluggish or even slow, right? So this will definitely help you clean up your digestive system, which is also helpful with hormone production. So this is why it helps reset your hormones as well. And like I said, a lot of our hormones get created in the gut. And when we don't properly take care of our digestive system, it can really throw things off. Remember, anything that throws our digestion off can throw our hormones and our metabolism off as well, especially for those that have digestive issues. Okay, number 2, balance your hormones. So balancing your hormones. So like I said, this is where 1 and 2 kind of come into play. And with 1 and 2, just by doing a hormone reset and reducing inflammation, this will help you balance your hormones. And there's other ways to balance your hormones too, but I'll go through a quick list here for you. So ways that you can balance your hormones are reducing inflammation, balancing your hormones through a hormone reset protocol. So a food cleanse and detox that includes food and movement. Yes, I do also recommend some supplements, but you could totally do this without the supplements. You can do this with just food and the movement. And I give you the exercises too, because there's cleansing movement exercises. For example, yoga HIIT. There's qigong exercises that we do in it as well, because we want to move the energy. We want to cleanse the energy from our body, and movement is healing, right? Movement is medicine. Okay. Another way that you can balance your hormones is by eating enough throughout the day, and eating like having macro balanced meals that are right for your body type and unique to your metabolism. Exercising and moving your body most days of the week, right? So getting that movement in when we're moving our body, you know, it's a way of being able to get rid of toxins in our body, and especially certain trainings are very good for that. Certain trainings are also really good for balancing hormones as well, right? And for example, resistance training is good for that. High intensity interval training, yoga HIIT, yoga. Walking's good too, because hey, you're getting the movement going too, right? But especially when it comes to balancing our hormones, the reason why we want to do this is because in order to reset your metabolism, you know, part of the reason why it's functioning at a lower rate is because of other hormonal imbalances. And we talked about excess insulin. So when you have dysregulated insulin levels, right, excess cortisol, excess estrogen, low progesterone, or high or low testosterone, you know, you could do all these things you could do the workouts to try and revive your metabolism. But if you haven't reset your metabolism by resetting your hormones, then you're going to have a hard time, you know, getting to your goals. You're going to have a hard time, you know, ultimately getting those results that you want, right? So exercising and moving your body most days of the week, getting proper sleep. So that's that lifestyle change. And I know it's hard when you're having sleep issues. Now, a lot of the time, sleep issues are actually caused by hormonal imbalances. So this is something to keep in mind. If you want better sleep, you have to balance your hormones, right? And there are certain supplements that can help with that as well too. Reducing stress, right? So we talked about ways to reduce stress, right? Taking some things off our plate, having, you know, hot baths, taking time for ourselves, our self-care, doing things that relax us, mind, body, and soul, right? Reducing exposure to chemicals and toxins in our environment. So using more eco-friendly products. And believe me, guys, it's taken me years to get to where I am with the eco-friendly products, because you know, sometimes it's a little trial and error when you're first making these changes. The other part is you want to make sure that what you're cleaning with is going to work and get your stuff clean. So I definitely can, maybe I should do a talk about that. If you guys are interested about which products are eco-friendly and actually get shit clean. But the main thing is reducing exposure to chemicals and toxins in our environment. We do the best we can, right? It's not something that just magically happens overnight. It's something that, you know, when we start making that choice to use more eco-friendly products for our health and our hormones, that this, you know, this can be something that can be done to help us, you know, reduce that in our environment so that we can be healthier and, you know, have less hormonal imbalances, right? Support our hormones and our metabolism in that way, right? Promoting good digestion and good gut bacteria, right? So what's cool about a hormone reset, and which is a cleanse and detox that you do with food and movement, is it does exactly just that. So that's one way. You can also get more alkaline foods into your diet. So like lettuces, fresh fruits and veggies, fresh food, clean up your nutrition. Certain foods like kombucha. Okay, that's not a food, but kombucha is good. Yogurt. Make sure to get yogurt that is hormone free. Liberté is one of them. Organic Meadow is another one. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. Kefir is another one. So kefir is like a liquid yogurt. The other thing is you can take a probiotic if you have a dairy intolerance. And, when we do promote good health and good gut bacteria, that actually can help us with the production of our hormones. It can help bring that back into balance as well, which makes it much easier to reset your metabolism and bring your thyroid into balance. It also gets your body burning fat at a more optimal rate too. And you have an appetite throughout the day, right? Which is one of the things that can also help. And okay, so number 3, we'll go into number 3, which is move your body. So doing specific movement that is cleansing and detoxifying, that also works directly on balancing your hormones and metabolism. So we're talking about the movement. Now, going back to the reducing inflammation, the balancing hormones, because this is very much food related, one of the other things you can do to boost your metabolism outside of that is eating every 3 to 4 hours. Now, this will depend too on your macro type, your body type, right? And that's definitely something we can chat about. If you want, you can always message me after this chat is over, or I'll set up some times with you guys over the next few days if you want to do the 15-minute get back on track call. That way we can kind of just see where you're at and get you back on track. Now, number 3 for metabolism boosting is moving your body. So doing specific movement that is cleansing and detoxifying, that also works directly on balancing your hormones and your metabolism. So what you need to start building a faster, stronger metabolism so you can achieve losing that last 10 to 20 pounds, fitting better in your clothes, getting bikini ready for summer and feeling more energized is exercising daily, doing something for movement. So doing resistance training that works directly on the metabolism. So high intensity interval training, you can do yoga HIIT, yoga walks. I would say boxing and certain types of cardio are really good for that. Like swimming is really good for that as well, because you're getting your whole body moving. And when we get our whole body moving, we may not realize it, but we are working on certain hormones. Now, this is what makes yoga really great too, is that yoga actually works directly on your hormones. It works on your chakras, and each of our chakras, which are spinning energy discs, it's our subtle energy body. And when we have these chakras, they're also related to certain hormones. And actually, every time we go into certain poses, we may not know it, you're actually working on your hormones and you're working on your chakras, which makes yoga a different type of training than just your resistance training or your yoga HIIT, right? Or high intensity interval training or any of the other trainings. It's as much as you're getting a workout with yoga, you're also getting that work in where you're working on your inner body, which can be really healing, right? And sometimes if you can't start with a walk, sometimes one of the best things you can start with is yoga, right? Especially if energy is an issue for you, right? The other thing I want to keep in mind too, when it comes to exercise, do not over exercise. So doing your resistance training 2 to 3 days of the week, and then doing cardio or cardio yoga or yoga on the other days in between will help you get into the practice of consistency and being more consistent. Now, the cool thing with yoga is that, if you got injuries, you got mobility issues, you have other health issues going on, yoga can be very, very healing, especially when you're like, I just don't feel like going for a walk today. I don't have the energy for it. The cool thing about yoga is, and we always say this in our yoga classes, even if we're breathing, we're still doing yoga, right? And it is true, right? Just breathing deep into our belly can do wonder for our body, right? It can help us relax. It can help us come back to, being calm. And then, we can do some subtle movements, getting into like some of the different poses and stuff. The cool thing with yoga is you can back off if you need to, or if you want to push it, you can push it, right? So if you haven't started from anywhere, yoga is a good place to start. I would also say, aim for 2 days at least with body weight exercises, because that's going to help you with your posture. It's also going to help you with your metabolism, right? The more lean muscle you can build on your body, the higher your metabolism will be, which means at rest, you're burning calories still. Because the one thing with cardio is you're only burning calories during cardio while you're doing the cardio. So keep that in mind, all of you cardio junkies out there, or all of you who think cardio is the only way to lose the weight. It's not. You actually need to do at least 2 to 3 days of resistance training using body weight exercises, or using weights and bands, right? You need to do that because that's what's going to increase your metabolism. And the higher the more lean muscle that you build on your body, the higher your metabolism will be. Okay. And using metabolism boosting movements in your workouts throughout the week. So compound exercises where we're working many muscles at once. So you got your lunge, squat, plank, push-up, pull-up, burpees, mountain climbers. Even if you can't do some of these, there's modifications to these exercises that you can do. And to be real with you, I mean, these are, yes, they're metabolism boosting, but any body weight exercises that you can do is good, is beneficial, right? Anything that you can do to build lean muscle, whether it's on your big muscles like your thighs, your glutes, or, you know, it's your tummy or upper body, it's going to help you boost your metabolism. Okay, so keep that in mind. Even though I mentioned these compound exercises, it's not, yes, this is maybe where it would be a good place to start, even doing deadlift, hip raises, right? Any exercises that work more than one muscle group at the same time, or more than one muscle at the same time, will help you. But any resistance training, any body weight exercises, band exercises, weight exercises are going to help you build a stronger and faster metabolism. Okay, eating enough during the day, fueling your body off the macros it thrives off best, and even eating every 3 to 4 hours, right? 3.5 to 4 hours, depending on you know, what your day is. So like making sure you get your 3 main meals in, and maybe having some snacks in between. If you work out, one of your snacks can be a whey protein shake. And I really, really hope that nobody's putting ice cream or like a lot of sugar in your whey protein shake. It's supposed to be whey protein. If you can't do whey protein, there are plant-based proteins that you can put into it, but really watch the sweets you're putting in your shake. Really what you should be doing is like a handful of spinach, handful of some fruit, or you can use a banana, and, you know, do almond milk, scoop of whey protein. We have a doTERRA whey protein. There's also Shanuza is one I like the best. It's one that I've used for years, and it's got like probiotics in it. It's very well made. Watch the sugar content in the whey protein. Okay, so that would be something that I would suggest if you're using shakes as a snack. The other thing too is getting more foods rich in selenium, L-tyrosine, and iodine. So that can be foods like almonds. That can be foods like, especially with the iodine, codfish, seaweed, sea greens. And the gift that I'm going to give you guys today, for those who came today and those who RSVP'd to it, is the Metabolism Boost and Fat Loss Accelerator Guide, because I actually list these foods that are rich in selenium, L-tyrosine, and iodine in it for you. So I'm going to give that to everybody who's here. And also another thing is get plenty of sleep, right? Getting plenty of sleep will actually help you with your metabolism. When we don't get enough sleep, cortisol rises, and it can actually, that stress can actually cause our metabolism to slow down. Okay, so I'm going to leave it open to Q&A, and then I'm just going to answer any questions that you may have. So what questions do you have for me, for those who are still with me today? Yes. Okay, so Stephanie says, sure is. Yeah, so Stephanie says, can you send me the detox cleanses? Yeah. So after this, I'll chat with you about the detox and cleanses. And yeah, I may have something that you can get started with right now as well too. Yeah, I can definitely send that to you. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Oh, and you would like to do the macro test. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would love to send that to you. I will definitely send that to you after this live today. Yeah, no, it's good to know where you're at with the, with what macros your body thrives off best. It can be a real like eye opener, but game changer for you, especially because then you can start to feel your body with what it thrives off. And you'll start to see the weight come off in no time for sure. So yeah, no, we'll definitely do that. Yeah, and if anyone else would like to do the macro test or wants to know more about the detox and the cleanses, or you have any questions too about what you need to do to get started or get that clarity, feel free to ask me in the chat box below, or we can always chat later if you're catching the replay. I'm gonna, of course, come back here and I'll reply to any messages that come through, any comments that come through for this one. Yeah, and other than that, we will definitely get you started, get you some clarity about what your next steps are for sure. And other than that, I will probably, if there's no other questions, I'm probably going to leave this just because I realize I'm really hungry now because it was my lunchtime, but that's okay. I'm going to go have lunch soon. Anyways, if you have any more questions, whatever questions that you do have for me, feel free to leave them in the comment box below. Other than that, I'm going to close this up because we have been talking for a while. I really hope that you enjoyed this training and that, you got some useful information out of this. I really love being able to host trainings like this just because it does give you guys clarity about what's going on in your body. And sometimes just having that clarity is what you need to help you progress, or what you need to help you to take that next step, or to just start actually working towards the results that you want instead of staying stuck, because I know staying stuck is an option. So, and staying stuck, we usually get stuck when we're overwhelmed, when we've tried all these things, or we tried to do a bunch of things at once too. So I don't want you to stay stuck. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. You can leave them down in the chat box below, or you can always message me too if you want. And other than that, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope this was helpful, and we will definitely chat again soon. Okay, so have yourself an amazing day, and until next time. Oh, there we go. All right. Happy Tuesday. See you.